All right, so I'm recording the video here just to show you what your homework is for tonight. In class, we spent most of the hour working on the take-home final grading and talking about the lab and how we're going to actually grade that for tomorrow, actually. But what we do for homework for tonight is basically just look over all the topics that can be on the test. I have put them on Schoology. And if you look at the title here, it's HPC, Honors Pre-Calc, Semester 2 Topics. I'd like you to look through all of the topics and highlight any of them or circle any of them that you feel like you are weak on, like, ooh, I really should practice this or that, okay? And specifically, I'm going to give you a couple things to do. The first is, in this section called sinusoids, I'd like you to take one where we have a depth of -2 feet. What would that mean anyway? 2 feet below sea level, good. At 2 p.m. and at noon, or sorry, no, 12 feet deep at 8 p.m. From that, you'll be able to tell both the amplitude and the B term, and you'll be able to figure out all kinds of things like, has it been shifted to the right or not? See if you can recall how to do this. If not, go back to your lab on tides. You should still have your tide lab. You have really good directions written out on how you solve the tide lab. Go look at your own notes and make sure you know how to do that. Okay, so you're writing me a sinusoidal for this. All right, so who thinks they got the general form for a sinusoidal down with? A cosine is how it starts if you're doing it right. Mr. L, give it a shot. Y equals A cosine 2 pi over B. It's I'm not so sure about that part, although I kind of like it because it's including some formula that you're supposed to have, but we really usually put that off to the side. What's that little formula he's referring to? The period. What's that little formula we'll put separately? Period is 2 pi over B. Would that be true for any function? No, it'd be true for which two? Cosine and sine, because they have a period of 2 pi. Okay. What if it had been tangent? Then the formula would read period is pi over b. Okay, good. Now, this is cosine of, you were good to there, and then you included that formula. You really don't need the formula there. You just need b there. Or, what do you think? Somebody take it from there. Sir, what do you think? You don't need a 2 pi in this formula. How about if I give you that hint? Close. Yes? All right. I'll give you that there's an X in there. Let's give it another shot. And yes, there is a C at the end. We need a little bit more clarity on in between. Yes? All right. Isn't there something room for a shift in there somehow? There's two kinds of shifts. There's a left-right shift, and this is an up-down shift. Okay, okay. So you want to put a D in here? All right, I'm going to pause for a second. Okay, so we've got it cleared up. There it is, x minus c in parentheses and then plus d. And so just to clarify, which one of those has to do with the amplitude? Okay, and amplitude has to do with like this, but it is not this distance between these two. It's half of that. Okay, another thought on these is that this is the shift up-down. Remember, classic cosine goes like this, and it alternates between -1 and +1. Has the curve been moved up? Has this wave right here been moved up? Oh, yes, it has, because its lowest point it reaches is at -2, and its highest point it reaches is at 8. So it's ranging from -2 to 8. So it's been moved up. All right, there's a lot of changes to this. So I'm not going to try to reteach you all of this right now. You should go back, look at your lab again if you have to try to remember how to get these components. The A, the amplitude component, is really easy. The B has to do with this. There was another formula for that. We'll give you that one though. Do you guys remember it? It's just this one except rearranged. So B is equal to, okay, so B is equal to, have you got it yet? 2 pi over the period. Okay, so these two equations are just a rearrange of each other, but sometimes the one works a lot easier than the other. All right, this has to do with the shift. Do you remember that that's always has to do something about the peak in the example you were given? All right, in case you forgot, this number has to do with the peak, the high point, this spot here. And the D, again, that has to do with, has this thing been shifted up compared to where it used to be, or down. All right. Okay, so that's one problem I would like you to do for tonight, is to work out that sinusoidal. I'm going to pause for a second while I write that down. Okay, and as we move on, the other topic that I would like you to work on for tonight, of all of the topics that there are to pick from here, is areas of triangles. Do you remember there's a few different ways to find areas of triangles? And just to clarify, it's not using the law of cosines or the law of sines. Those are different. Okay, to find areas of triangles, there is, I'd like you, this is the other assignment for tonight, to make one problem of each type, and then on a separate sheet of paper or a separate notability doc, write the answers out, because you were going to use these questions to test somebody tomorrow. This is just a plain old-fashioned normal area of a triangle problem that you've been doing since, like, I don't know, maybe 6th grade. And this is, what's different about it? And for a non-right triangle. And then, do you remember this? That's one of the hardest ones. It's called heroes. It's where you have all the sides of the triangle, and then you use that little formula to figure out the area of the triangle that way. Okay, so you're making up and then finding the answers to 3 questions, one of each type. Okay, so it's a pretty small homework assignment, but we are going to stay busy the entire hour with other stuff. Yes? Yes, the whole point is to find the area for each of your triangles. You don't have to find the area in 3 different ways for each triangle. You just make me one area triangle as a normal, simple one that's for not right triangles, and one that's where you only know the sides. All right. And the point of this one is obviously to use heroes. So, you know, make it, I guess you could make it a 3, 4, 5 triangle. There's no reason you couldn't do that. All right. So that's what I'd like you to do, as well as just looking over generally what is on this final. And if you're scared about stuff, then I'll give you a chance to give me feedback tomorrow about, hey, would you talk about this and this? And I'll get your feedback as a group to what you want to hear about. Okay, so that's for tonight. And the rest of the time we're going to spend on the take-home that you have in front of you. And that's all I have for the video for today then.